We're on. We're live. Yeah, it is AtlanticScrum. We've got Thomas, or Thomas. I'm calling him now, Andrew, and myself. Let's just check in with. Looks like Ichi's on her way. I'm just going to mute Tom because he's got a bit of a noisy background there. Let's start with Alejandro. Hey, Alejandro, how are things going with you?
Very well. I wrote a comment at Pivotal Tracker.
Yes, saw that.
Okay. And I thinking about the strategy of implementation.
Right.
And the only thing is I must coordinate with you or Thomas to do this.
Okay.
Tomorrow I can join 10 a.m.
UTC. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, tomorrow is. I'm going to be. It's tomorrow afternoon. We've got our graduation at Makers, so I'm not necessarily going to be around. But so I guess for what you've got, you've got. I mean, there's a pull request? This is the pull request for side 1?
Yes.
And this, right. So it kind of tries to improve on this flow of starting and ending the Hangout broadcasting, and so. Has Thomas or others, have they reviewed the code here at all?
I think not.
No.
I think he not.
Right, but you've tested on your own instance, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And so now you want to move it onto develop?
Not yet. We could move after do the set. We can do the setup of the environment bar.
Sure.
And then move to develop. Yes, we can do this.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to do some things there. I mean, maybe at the end of the, I guess, yeah. I mean, Thomas, I think he's not going to be here this afternoon, and I don't know if he's going to be here tomorrow afternoon. We could, maybe you and I together at the end of this session, we could try and move it on to develop. But let's see. Yeah. I don't know if Ichi is needing to restart her computer, it seems. Yeah. I guess let's just check in. So that's things from you. From me, on my side, yeah, I guess nothing much to report since the previous stand-up. I've been working on things for Makers alumni. Yeah, Tom, do you want to give us an update on what you and Ichi have been doing? You're muted at the moment. I can.
Okay, so we've tried to work on. So we didn't work directly on the. We didn't work on the necessary relations because Ichi was working on another thing, and it was more a styling issue. She was trying to make to put each category. Every certain number of categories, you just get a column instead of.
Yes. Yeah, she showed that we had that in the local support client meeting, and Ichi has joined us as well. So that's great. But yes, okay. So and anything so you worked together on that? You just worked independently?
No, we just worked together on that mostly, and then the second thing was we worked on. Ishi mentioned about what was that, like a problem with an error message.
With the password.
Yeah, when you reset password token, it gave an error message that we couldn't customize.
Right. Okay.
This is a device thing, actually. This is something. It's not a problem with functionality, just presentation.
Yes, absolutely.
And apart from that, like I was wondering about the relations and generally, I think like the method to create the forms, I think it's right. I think I understand how it's working right now.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a bit inefficient because to select the type, to separate them in different types, it checks every element. For like you have these different types, and if one of the category names is the first to appear
Yes.
in the array of a type,
Yeah.
it's going to make the type title
Yes.
appear, something like that. So but the thing is, it works, and I wouldn't be sure on how to rewrite the whole code to do it better.
Yeah. Okay.
Cleaner.
But
I don't know.
I
Like,
keep on telling you not to worry about that. Like
yeah, okay, no, it's all
but
right.
you're
Yeah,
still.
but I thought like, yeah, like okay, so I will work a bit more on the nested resource and nested relation.
Right.
But it's like I'm working on something I'm not really sure where it's really taking me. Like,
Okay.
where do I want to be at the end of it? Like,
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Well, that's something we can work on. Ichi. Tom's just given us a sort of a bit of a report. Obviously, that's what you've been doing as well. Anything to add to that?
Well, no, that's the only thing is we don't know definitely how to refactor the categories edit code.
No. Sure.
And in the last thing we tried to do about change the message, we weren't able to do it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so
far, I mean.
Sure. Oh, sure. Yeah. So Tom's raised an issue there in terms of being concerned about the end product. Is there? You're talking about now the size of the error messages and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you're blocked on that you need help from me on, or it's something that between the two of you you'll carry on and you'll work it out?
I don't know what you think, Tom, but I'm not sure if we will be able to do it on our own, as
what do you mean, like?
Exactly where is defined this error to change the text, because to me it seems just an error, that message that is somewhere in the code, the project, and just we need to vary it.
Because somewhere in the device configuration files, in the YAML files, you can set custom message for certain errors, and the only problem is for that exact error, it doesn't. At least, like, I've tried doing something that was something from a Stack Overflow thread, and it wasn't working. It was breaking 30 tests. For a custom error message, it was breaking 30 tests, and I don't know like why or.
Yeah. Okay. So we could. That's so that's something that we could be looking at together. I mean, I guess that to bring it back to your original question, which is about like what's the end product. So I mean, before you were discussing how working on a simple Rails app that did something would be a valuable experience. So what I'm trying to get you to do, which I don't know, I get the sense that you're feeling worried that somehow if you don't complete the entire thing, like you don't complete the entire feature, that it's kind of like what's it all for? But so for example, like the thing with the nested form fun thing here is it's like what I thought that you mentioned that you were going to do is maybe try and recreate this part of the app. But the objective is like can we make a nested form that does this is like the scaffolded form that comes out that allows us to update the organization. So the question is, can we use the nested form for gem, and build a thing here for the categories that operates you know, with kind of relatively clean code, and will allow both the creation and the destruction of those relationships. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but yes, but there's like so the problem is, and that's probably what I'm missing, is right now the relationship between organizations and categories is confusing me, because like what we want to do is display categories by type.
Okay, but you've really got to drop that. Yeah,
before the type. Okay, so before.
Yeah, no, just forget about the type for the minute. Like this is really kind of, I think, preventing you making progress. But go on.
I thought it was focused on that actually. I thought that was the problem. Like checking for the type. Was the problem.
Like there are two parts to this guy. I wish I sort of had a whiteboard. Is that like like in the feature, the request that we have from the client is about breaking them up into type. Yeah. However, one of the issues that we see with this is that the form itself, even without considering the type thing, is kind of messy.
Right.
So, like, if we look at this code here, right? Oh, actually, so this one now I happen to have Ichi's code, and it's got the hack in here to display like separate boxes by type. But this in its, if I go and check out the develop codes. Again, if I can just quickly find it. Give me the. I've minimized what is it? LocalSupport. Here we go. So if I check out develop. So this is the develop code, which is this. This is the code that's in production at the moment, right? And it's got this render partial category type thing. That under the hood, it's doing the same case statement, right? And it's still not doing what the. So that hack is an existing hack that we have anyway, but that's not the only, seems to me, hack here, right? We have two other things in here. One is this FF checkbox thing, and two is that we have this setup organization thing in here, which is going through and it's adding all of these additional category organizations to the organization model in order to get all of the categories displayed with the organization in the organization form. Right. So what I'm saying and what we've been talking about is that there is already two kind of hacky things in the form before we even start to consider what's going on with the types. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. The problem is there's so much like the thing with like the partials and the methods. Like even just to understand the case things. We had to check like a couple of files, and that's like what's like while I'm doing it on my own and I'm trying to figure out what's the problem, what's the issue. It's like I don't even know where to look, and
no, absolutely right. And that's perfectly normal, and that's exactly the situation you'd expect to find yourself in there. That's nothing to worry about. That's like it's the normal thing. If that wasn't the case, I'd be very surprised. Right? But so that's why we've now got nested form fun here that hasn't got any partials, hasn't got any of those complexities. We're focusing on this.
So we want to try and do a form, like we start from an organization model.
Yes.
And we want to do a form for categories that are related to the organization. That's kind of.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're doing here is the fundamental thing that's going on, is that we've got this more complex version of this that's involving the partial, that's involving the types. So in order to make progress on it, what we've done is we've moved over to a thing that doesn't have any types, so that we can see clearly how the system works. Now and this is like it's open. Like, what is the right way to do this? Because again, and to reiterate, I'm just going to mute your background there, Thomas, because it's getting a bit distracting. I just muted you. There's a lot of background noise there, and it's difficult to hear myself think. But so, the carry on listening is that going back to the code here is the danger of us trying to build more stuff upon this kind of complex thing with the partial one is exactly like absolutely. Like, there's a lot going on. It's very noisy. You know, there's partials, there's types, there's different things. If we can work out a simpler way to do it overall, then it's going to be easier to build on it, right? However, this issue of having a and potentially if I can get to nested form fun, which is maybe over here, and I actually run it, because I haven't all I did with you before when we made it yesterday was already in use Rails S -P 3001. I'm already running another local one somewhere else. Let's open this. So if we're in there and now I go to like organizations /new or something, let's see, look at this. I'm going to have problems. Undefined method. Categories I did, that was because the scaffold that I created originally was kind of broken. Like if you do it again from scratch following the instructions, you won't get that. But if I go organizations, form, yeah, let's just get rid of that. Here we go. Oh, right. So I mean, you know, this is the fundamental building block, right, of the Harrow Community Network sites, that people can create organizations, yeah. And so, like here, we can have an organization, we can create one, fantastic. We have them, we have lists of organizations and so on, all done with the scaffold. But so, underneath all of the other complexity and things going on in the Harrow Community Network, we just, like, I mean, all of these things, like the individual fields on organization, that's straightforward, relatively speaking. This one, and this has got another complex thing, there's a feature request on that, it's another story. But it's the categories. So can we, you know, take, the question is, in a simple, this is, you know, I think the considered way, this is the nice, neat way that a form is supposed to be done for an organization. So the question is, can we now have in here something that will allow us to select categories, potentially unselect existing categories, and update the organization and its category relations in a single go? Yeah, you know what I mean? So here we've got, I don't know if this is going to be categories. Now, you know, one thing that can be done with this shell is that one can take, we could take, for example, here, just this as it stands, and stick that in there, like so, and say you know, let's not worry about the type. So we remove the partials, like, and presumably, have I lost some extra bit there? I lost 2 lines, didn't I? Damn it! There you go. No, oh no. Oh, it's here. There we go. But so, I mean, for me, in terms of exploring how this works, as I understand it, the 2 key things that are needed in there in order to make that work is we need both that bit and this bit at the top, right? We need to have that, and this was the approach that the other developer, Michael, who worked on this, you know, kind of worked around it. If we go and get that one, we've got the form helper. I think it's just that. So, you know, we would need to pull in this as well. But so with that, we can start to explore how the whole system works, you know, without having to worry about types, without having to worry about anything. And, you know, I would say, like, even if the feature never gets, because we may find that there aren't any better solutions. We may find that this is the only way to do it. But at least by playing with this, you'll be learning about how can we update, you know, how can we do a nested update form for a has-many relationship, right? And being able to know how to do that in Rails, that's a skill, you know. So that's like a useful skill. But the suggestion that we have is that using the I hardly ever find it. Is it this one? Do they link to? No, I can never. It's the nested form gem. Is that in principle with this gem, we could do that a lot more cleanly, right? Instead of having that form helper at the top with setup organization, we could instead do nested form for, right? And then instead of this kind of complex thing like this, we might be able to get away with, have they got the example in here? And they've got all JavaScript things as well. Ooh. But that was, I think it's in the example is then in the Stack Overflow post, that they're suggesting that we can maybe get away with doing something like this, right? So although, you know, it may, like, so we would, in principle, end up replacing, and this, rather than being, this would now be category organization, maybe it's something like this, yeah, which might be like cleaner. Right? If we could boil it down to something like this, then we could very, very easily end up putting scopes in there like this. You know what I mean? You want to unmute and say hello. You're still muted. Shall I try and unmute you? I can't unmute you. I can mute you, but I can't unmute you.
No, it's all right. I think more or less it's a bit clearer now.
Yeah. And so I think the thing to do is to, is to play in this, toy app that we've made. Yeah. And so the activity, I can see at least 3 activities there. One is just trying to create the app from scratch yourselves. 2 is trying to copy over, as I sort of did there, just the pieces that we need to make the category updates work. And the other one is to experiment with this nested form or gem to see if we get, a simpler system out, right?
Right.
And so if we get a simpler and cleaner system out, that's a great win. We can move that back, and then, when you could even just experiment with the, then, like, having reached that point, we say, okay, that's good. We start experimenting with scopes, or we find that that doesn't work, or, more research, but anyway, but all of those things are kind of helping add up to, there's also the Rails guide to read, Rails guide, nested forms. This is, the form helpers are one of the reasons why Rails is popular, right? Because these will, they basically take the legwork. What people had for a long time to do was create all of these Rails, all of these HTML forms over and over again. But the Rails forms, and Ichi, you and I went through this in detail the other day, there's basically this very tight coupling between the form helper and the format that the data comes out, so that it can just be squirted straight into the database. Yeah, that's the thing. So and if we look inside here, they've got the nested bits. Where is that? I'll go back up to the top. But the interesting thing about these nested forms here is the nested forms they deal with kind of relatively simple things, but like this is all of the documentation, almost all of the documentation we've got from Rails on dealing with nested forms. And so we're kind of beyond the basic guide here. Do you know what I mean? For these things. There's also like then they're removing objects there. It's this thing. This accepts nested attributes for addresses allow destroy. So this is the last section. This is the most complex thing that you could. It's 9 building complex forms. Yeah. So if you can go into an interview and say, oh yeah, I understand how this works, then that's like woo woo woo. They'll give you a job on the spot. Well, depends anyway. But there you go. But so I definitely read this section here, 9, on building complex forms, and have a nice play around with the. Let's give you the link to that. Put that in Slack for you. Go back to
I've already found the documentation.
Okay.
It's no problem.
Cool. I'll just pop it in there anyway for anybody following in the background. Okay. So that's that thing. That's like one little project thing by itself. Just coming back to the other thing, which is you were talking about trying to update those devise messages and saying that you were getting like 30 error messages and this, that, and the other. Do you want to show me some of that? What's going on there? I think, in principle, it's all doable. Some of those failing error messages will be, just relatively simple fixes of, where we've got the tests too tightly coupled to the, the HTML, as Ichi and I have been talking about all week. So, feel free, if you can get it to work and the tests don't pass, you can do the spike, you can do the pull request in, and then I can maybe look at the code, separately and help you through it.
Okay, so we have also, I'm not sure how to live test that, because I'm not is there a way from the localhost to activate the device mailer and send me an email? Because the problem is,
yes,
you still need to sign up.
You need to come in through the thing. What you can do is you can send an invite through the admin interface. So, running on localhost, it won't send the email, but if you trail the logs, and you go into the admin interface, I mean, it may be necessary to get you a copy of the production data or some.
Yeah, the problem is that
Go on.
error message is for like when you change a password. So you should like.
Yeah.
The thing is, since we don't have a like profile page or we can.
Yeah. Well, you might need to create a few users. I mean, I think what I would say is probably now, because we've been talking about this for a while, and I should maybe help Alejandro with a couple of his things. Is that I think you've got enough there to get you both started continuing on the edits categories thing and be thinking about the nested forms. Why don't you? I mean, that change that you made, even though it broke the tests, why don't you open a pull request so then I can also see all of the broken bits and pieces, and then I can kind of get in separately and I can point you to. I mean, it's like. Yeah, there's one like how to test that cycle and so on. I think it may be faster if you just sort of push up the code in a branch to a pull request, and then I can like give you the comments, and then it's also documented for like other people rather than trying to do it verbally now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So maybe that'll keep you going for the time being. Alejandro, did you want to try and get this thing on to develop so that you can do further testing? What do you think?
Sorry, I think.
Yeah. So, well, you were talking about this. You've got this pull request that you want to
Yes.
kind of like. You've tested it locally. You'd like to try and test it within develop. Yeah.
No, I can move to develop.
Oh, you can move it to develop. Okay, so you can move it to develop yourself, but then you're saying that you need some. I thought you were saying that there were some things that you needed Thomas or myself to do.
Yes, I need you set the environment variables.
Uh-huh.
I need you, and on production, I need to do more things. Set the Google app and.
Okay. Well, I mean, why don't we do on development? Do you need us to set some production, some environment?
Just the point one.
Okay. We need this environmental that in the Heroku app. We need
yes.
that. Yes. I think that seems like a reasonable thing. If you can push to develop, then let's just do that. I'm just going to look here. We've got website 1, production staging, website 1, develop. So you're just saying you just need the settings updated in here. I'll just take that off the recording. So currently, so what's this thing that needs updating? It's you need the Hangouts app ID in the Heroku settings are changed. Okay, yep, I can see the thing. Okay, so it needs to change to this one starting with 33 and save. Okay, so that's updated.
Okay. Okay, I didn't see your screen.
No, I moved it off just because we're recording live, and it's got some.
Okay.
Website develop's got the security things or whatever.
Okay, perfect. Okay, point 1 is setting. Point 2.
Move to develop.
Move to develop.
Yeah.
If you could do.
Okay. Well, I thought you were saying you could move it to develop.
I will try. I will try to see.
Okay. Yeah.
And then let you know if I can.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, give it a go. Pushing. So by the way, Ichi and Tom, this is for obviously you've used and seen the Hangout integration we have with AgileVentures, and so this is like some improvements for that. But yeah, no. See if you can, Alejandro, if you can push that out, and then if you can't, I'll be happy to sort of push that. And particularly if you give me information of how to test it, I think I probably know how to test it. It's working, and I can try and discuss it with Thomas tomorrow AM about pushing to production. But
okay,
yeah, cool. All right, wonderful. Any other questions from anybody? Tom or Ichi? Can I help in any other way?
No, I'm okay so far.
All right, cool. Well, I'll be on Slack for another hour or so. If there are any other questions, good luck. Try. I know, Tom, you're in a sort of a time bind and you're under a lot of pressure, and it's I totally feel your pain, but it's all going to be okay. You know, I think it's all going to work out. Trust me. And the key is about breaking things off into smaller chunks and focusing on them. Anyway, let's leave it there for the day. Good stuff, guys, and I'll check in with you hopefully tomorrow. Well, not Alejandro, but I'll check in with all of you soon. All right.
Okay.
Bye for now. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.